All right, breaking news here. Berkshire Hathaway's latest 13F is out. Got a couple of new positions here for Berkshire. Most significantly, 18 million share position in Kroger. And as you see, that stock is popping in after-hours trade on this Friday. The stock up in excess of 6%. Other new stakes here include Biogen, more of a modest stake, just under 650,000 shares. A couple of interesting ones here, Jared.
Yeah.
Berkshire Hathaway adding SPY and VOO. That would be the Spider ETF tracking the S&P, and then that's the Vanguard S&P ETF. Now, very modest positions, 40,000 shares of SPY, 43,000 shares of VOO. Buffett said that Jack Bogle did more for anybody in the history, more than anybody else in the history of investing, and certainly putting some of his cash to work in passive index funds.
Yes, finally walking the talk. Of course, almost all of his wealth is tied up in Berkshire Hathaway, and he is a stock picker and a trader by definition, and that's fine for him. He's a professional. He has the history of doing that, but yeah, that is kind of an interesting move, and I don't get the Kroger play at all. It's up 4% over the last year. I understand it's a value play, along with, I think he added to Coca-Cola, which is more of a robust value play. But then looking at some of the increased holdings, OCCIDENTAL, that's he has a big stake in that. Plus, he's getting 8 or 10% from preferred shares.
Yeah, more than doubled his stake there in Oxy.
Yeah, and there's also some board shakeup action going on there. Is it Carl Icahn? Yeah, he's not happy with the interest rate that Buffett is getting on all that cash he loaned them.
That's
but
right.
then we also have the company formerly known as Restoration Hardware. That's been up nicely over the last year, I believe. And then General Motors. That's an interest. Is this Combs and Wechsler making these?
Well, I think GM kind of seems like a Buffett position. You know, the Kroger buy, it's got to be from Ted or Todd. But I think as you it's mid-February, so we're only 10, 11 weeks out from the Berkshire annual meeting. So you start thinking in your mind, like, what's going to come up? I think the Kroger buy very obviously comes up there. Buying a ton more Liberty Global, okay, he's just going to trust John Malone. That's fine. That's a tried and true method there. Kind of looking through, slightly trimming the stake in Apple, slightly trimming the stake in American Airlines, slightly trimming some BOFA. Nothing too interesting in terms of his trimming, with the exception of what happened with Phillips 66 and Travelers, basically getting fully out of those positions, selling millions of shares of both companies.
Travelers has underperformed significantly for so long. Not as familiar with the Phillips 66 story, except that energy stocks have just been getting hammered. I think he's going to bottom tick this one. I wouldn't be surprised for energy to rally a bit from here, just based on the fact that it's been so downtrodden. And crude oil, you look at the term structure, it's priced for a demand shock, but long term, investors probably are betting that it's going to at least maintain its value for the year. But also Wells Fargo. He used to sell Wells Fargo only when it was going above the 10% limit, and now he's slowly rotating out of it, getting rid of some Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs has been an outperformer, I think, over the last year. And then what else we got? American Express. That's a top holding, not surprised. That's a big travel play. It's not like Visa and MasterCard. It really responds well.
But again, I think if you look at the BNY Mellon, Bank of America, American Airlines, and Apple stakes, trimming those, but I think, again, I call them cosmetic tweaks to the portfolio. About 1%, 2% of the position, so nothing too major there. So that's the latest we got on Warren Buffett's latest 13F filing. If anything else comes to us, we'll break it to you here, but that is the rundown. Kroger shares up sharply, significantly trimming stakes in Travelers and Phillips 66.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.